You got us?
Nope.
Soon.
When will then be now?
Soon. Can we just have like one episode where you quote Spaceballs like the whole time? I think that would be fun.
Well, if a lot of people would get it.
I think a lot of people would. You have us yet?
Nope.
All right. I know there's people out there watching, so here we go.
Hello, peoples.
Ah,
Peoples could watch.
classic sound.
Peoples could watch us playing with our phone till we know that we're on.
Bobby. Oh, dude, for real? This dog.
Dog wants to hit the camera, so if it gets squirrely, people.
For real, Bobby. Oh.
There we are. I think we're on there. There it is.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There we are. I think we're on there. There it is.
You? Okay, can you hear me now?
There we go.
Ooh, I sound loud, don't I?
Well, because I had the volume jacked all the way up.
Well, you think I'm good?
Yep.
All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Live on the Porch.
The Porch.
So I looked. We started this, I don't know, sometime in June. It is now, what, mid-August? Early August. And our sign is still vertical.
Not hung.
Yeah. So we'll get there
Story
eventually.
of our lives.
Okay.
We've been in this house for 7 years. 7 years, and I could take you around and show you things that are still there from day one.
And I'm sure your mom would love to remind me about my 5-year plan. We're on year 7. We're not on the timeline of like year 2. We're backward. We're on like negative years, really.
Whatever. We didn't say 5 years would be done. We just said 5 years we had an idea.
I like that. I'm going to use that. I like it. All right. So what are we talking about today, dear?
We're talking about no. N-O.
No.
No.
No what?
No. When someone... Obviously, we're Back Mountain Microgreens. You know, that's our business. But we talk a lot about relationship. So this is going to pertain to both of those. And telling people no. And it may sound harsh, tell someone no, but you're doing a disservice if you don't. If you lead someone on. So by telling someone no, it's a good thing. If you're not interested, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in business, I think what people get scared of is how you tell people no.
It's kind of, I was just thinking while you were speaking about the whole love and truth thing. So that we hear that all the time, guys, from our pastor at church. And it's like, if you're speaking, it needs to be in love and in truth.
Love, truth.
But if
Beautiful
you have
sunshine, pretty flowers, cactus. Both real.
Yeah. But you need an even keel. You need like the sign, like split right down the middle. If you're speaking with nothing but love, there's likely not a whole lot of truth. And if you are 100% truth, it's going to hurt because there is no love. So like Luke said, I'm kind of one extreme and he's kind of the other. And somehow we get along, you know. But I think whether it's business, life, anywhere, the same applies. You know, delivery matters, thought matters. So we have to try and speak the truth.
And why these episodes come up is, again, their thoughts, their ideas, their everyday life, that things happen to us. And one of the things that happens a lot for us in business, more so for me now than Gail, because when we first started, we were both attacking sales. I more on the right up front, going knocking on door to door. Gail knocking on emails and phone calls and things like
Text
that.
Messages,
so we've kind of not really shied away from that, but we try to get a hold of an actual person first. So I go out and do the legwork and meet someone and then get their information and see if there's a yes or no, or if there's a maybe or an interest.
Maybe is good.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just, it's...
As long as it's not a hidden no. A fearful
exactly.
No. Yeah.
If it's no, it's no. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, because everybody's time is valuable. So you're wasting not only your time. If you didn't tell me no, I'm probably going to be back in your kitchen again to check on you, or I'm going to call you, or I'm going to send you a text message.
I think you should cover that, if you call and nobody answers or you get the runaround, you're going to just like show up, because I think that's like,
yeah, we try to set up an
Stalker
appointment.
Luke.
We try to set up an appointment, call the place. But we know that people don't like to take calls. Nobody does, because you don't want to be bothered. I have great stories from both extremes, all the way from one where I called and the chef was reluctantly took the phone call. Ends up one of our best customers. He even told me, I didn't even want to take that call because I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I don't want a sales call. He was thrilled.
Nobody likes dealing with salespeople who are like pushy and overt and,
I am
and
the
just
least
in your face.
least pushy person. I didn't come from sales. I did sales for a very short stint in my days, and it was food sales. But I was in the restaurant business first as a business owner, and then went into food sales. I knew what people went through. I know what the kitchen goes through. I don't like salespeople. I don't want them coming in. Or if they do come in, I want it short, sweet, give it to me, and out the door, because I'm busy.
Don't waste your time.
Unless we're going to schedule a time. Maybe if we're going to have a food show, or you're going to have a presentation, or we're going to have something. That's a different story. But if you're just going to pop in, drop the specials for the week or whatever, and out the door. If I've got any adjustments on the order, we love subscriptions. People, you got a subscription? Send it in. This is what I want every week. You'll have it. We don't bother you. You don't bother us. Things change the subscription. That easy. We have people that we don't even know that they changed it. We look, on Harvest Day and go, what happened? I thought we used to, they changed it. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's great. That's the type of relationship that some people have. And we understand that there's different people. We're all different. But that's one extreme, where a chef actually took a call and loved it. Went in, met, loved the product, had a great relationship, still have a great relationship with them.
Talking sick? I think it's a good time to say it's easy to sell something that you believe in versus something that is like deceptive, or you're selling specific things just to make money when maybe that's not exactly what the customer needs. It's a lot easier to sell stuff that speaks for itself. And I think, your previous stint in sales, you had a lot of...
Well, I wasn't. I was selling someone else's product. This product is our product.
Yeah.
We grow it.
But even aside from the fact that it's ours, we get good feedback all the time. People appreciate it. People like it. We hear, just like we heard the other week with the testimonial, it's helping people health-wise. People that are in the culinary side of things rather than the health side of things say, the quality is great, blah, blah, blah. So it's easy to want to sell something that is something you believe in, or that you actually think can help people, whether they're the culinary or the health. It's not just about the sale. It's about, this could elevate what you're doing, or the goals that you're aiming for, whatever,
That being said, I've also got stories where we've had customers that have bought from us and then ghosted us. Yeah. And after a couple of buys and telling
great
us
feedback.
telling us everything's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Ghost Town know that we stopped. We know they still work there. We know that the place still exists. We know it's still operating. But we call, we text, and no answer. That's weird. And then we have the other extreme, where this is where the idea for this episode came into play, was where we don't even get a no. And I stop in and you tell me that you love the product and you've already used it, and I bring you free samples and it's fantastic, and I can't wait to order it. And then I don't hear from you. And then I think, all right, well, let it go. I'll follow up. And I follow up, and we have the same great conversation that you love the product. I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with you. I'm assuming you feel comfortable with me. You tell me you love the product, and then nothing.
Yeah.
If it's a no, it's a no. Because I'm not saying that I would stop in every day if it was a no, but somebody said, stop in every once in a while if you want, if you got something new and you want to show it. That's communication.
And we do that.
But if it was a no and don't ever come here again, okay.
Point taken.
Yeah, exactly. Point taken. Gotcha. Yeah. Check off. Not going to show up. But if I'm going to not get a no, I'm probably going to keep it on the radar and say, all right, well, check back in a month. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a phone call. maybe it's a text, maybe it's an email, whatever. And then if I don't hear anything back after that, and I know that we kind of left it where it was a good relationship and there was no, then I'm probably going to stop in again.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I stop in, I get a great response and a great welcoming, and maybe even taste, something that they're making in the kitchen because they offer it. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then to tell me everything's fantastic, but you don't order. And that's fine, but the communication part of what
time is valuable.
What is it for all people? I'm not just saying it for us. I'm thrilled to go out. I love to go out, and I love going into the kitchens. I love meeting new people. I love seeing the menus. I love assisting in the menus just because that's my background, and plus I love to help people. So doing it in a field that I'm comfortable in is a total win-win. So I've got the stories in the gamut from, taking something that was supposed to be a no, that somebody said yes to a phone call and ended up being one of our best customers, to people that have said yes and then ghosted us and now we don't see them at all, to people that are great people but don't purchase from us and don't tell us no.
Yeah.
Like that's a big arc of happenings. So the discussion is, and again we base this all to relationship too, because
the whole truth and love.
You can, maybe in dating, as younger, we've got 4 teenage boys, and they're, some of them are dating, and they'll talk about, well, I don't like this about that person. Okay, well, did you tell them? Well, no, I don't want to scare them off. Well, better to scare them off now than 10 years from now when you hate each other and you're splitting up a house and you're cutting babies in half to say, well, you get this half and that half. Like that's not a good thing. Know what it is that you can handle and what it is that you like, and the same thing in business. That we discussed that in earlier parts of our other episodes about our business, thinking, wow, we really need help and we really are going to go after this and we're going to pay somebody to help us here. And then they come to find out that's not going to work out. So we cut it off and we went a different direction. Gail and I, we talked about text messaging. We used to hammer down, or Gail did, she hammered down on text messages on a Wednesday from sun up to sundown, finding people, doing it manually. We just said, stop, we're not doing it. Because
and some people wanted that, but it was becoming so time consuming and so burdensome, it wasn't realistic. And it's always in my mind, how do we scale this? How do we do this more efficiently? How do we do this better? And it's very difficult to marry that with good, high quality personal relationships. And I was getting very overwhelmed thinking, I don't know how we're ever going to do this if we grow beyond the couple of customers that we had at the time. And it wasn't a couple, it was a lot. And it seemed like an all day event. So I felt like I didn't know how to do that and keep up with it with a personal touch, but maybe people don't need the personal touch. And since we've taken that away, the whole like text list thing, people have actually said, hey, can you just send me a reminder? So maybe part of the personal relationship is, dude, I don't need a 5-minute conversation. Yeah. Just send me something that says, hey, get your order in, because they don't want the same thing every week. So a subscription doesn't work and they just forget. Yeah. So all they need is a text message to say, get your order in, and they're happy with that. And that's a good relationship. So soon, you're kind of letting the cat out of the bag here, but soon we're going to get back to that. So
it's not even about talking about anything further. It's just about, there's things that you can take and things that you can leave.
Yeah.
And, my one son said that the girl that he was talking to was crazy. And I said, we're all crazy. It's on what level of crazy can you deal with?
Do you want to say what you originally told him?
And he said, that, I said, well, what's crazy about her? Well, she's wants me to call her all the time and check in and this and that. And I said, okay, so you're not about that, but there could be somebody else that really loves that connection. So what's crazy to you isn't crazy to somebody else. It's just like anything else in life. And, an addiction, somebody got an addiction to this, but it's no problem for somebody else. So in a relationship, in business, in the grand scheme of things, the communication, we've had an episode about communication. This is just a more, broken down version of what to communicate about. And it's about no. Just say no.
And I think it's kind of touched on in the description for the video. If the flame dies, there's nothing wrong with that. Whether it's from one end, both ends, it doesn't matter. As long as it's communicated. We're going through this right now with one of the other kids we're not going through it, but just trying to teach the concept of it's better to keep the relationship truthful and strong and full of respect rather than string someone along too long
And then it becomes
with the risk
angry
of
and
damaging the relationship permanently.
Right.
And the great example is who is middle-aged right now, but who still hangs out with people they dated from 20, 30 years ago, and they're friends, and they meet up when they travel, and they get along. The whole purpose is not to do damage, not to burn bridges, and so we're trying to teach that to the kids in their, relationship, dating life, and things like that. But we're practicing the same thing in our business. And it's just, even if you don't want to buy something right now, maybe you love the product, or maybe you never got a chance to try it or whatever, but you weren't interested, it was just a hard no. As long as we keep the relationship and the communication respectful, when or if you need our products, we'll be there. And at that point, we don't mind bending over backward to get you what you need, or even in a pinch or whatever, it doesn't matter. But the whole point is, let's keep the relationship intact. Let's treat each other with respect. There's no reason for like the whole ghosting or whatever you want to call it. Just be honest, and if it hurts, it hurts. I would rather be a little bit hurt and know the truth. We're preaching the whole like love and truth thing or whatever, but we can handle the truth. Like, you're not going to hurt our feelings. Just say it. And if what you have to say is no, I'm not interested, I don't want it, that's fine.
But constructive criticism at the same time. If we did something wrong,
it's helpful. Yeah,
help
we
us
always ask for that,
so that we don't do it wrong to someone else. It's a small business. We're trying to build it. We're trying to make it grow. We've had restaurants that started with us where maybe they were just doing a specialty dinner and that was the only thing they bought. Then it turned into maybe more than that, and then it turned into weekly, and then it turned into more weekly, and then it turned into, we can't do this anymore. It's not sustainable, which is perfectly fine. We totally understand. Everyone's got a fiscal responsibility. There's finances out there that, are not disclosed to everybody, but we all know it's not easy to run any kind of business.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, regardless of how many employees you have, every business has the same thing, whether it's employees, whether it's insurance, whether it's travel, it's gas, it's utility expenses. No business comes with no expenditures, no charges. There's something out there, and everything is rising. So we totally get that. But the person came to us and told us that. I don't think, I mentioned the other day I was going to call them and say, hey, how's things going? Just let you know we're here. Because we didn't leave it in any bad way. Or the bills were paid. They enjoyed the product. It was just a financial decision and saying, we're not busy right now and this isn't advantageous. Fully understandable.
When you're out and about, you talk about maybe just stopping in with a sample too. Kind of on the same, I don't know, maybe it has nothing to do with it, but another issue that we had with a personal customer, usually we get rave reviews for our customer service, but just like Luke said a few paragraphs back, this is a small business and we are trying to compete with big players, and we're trying to do everything we possibly can to get everything right, but it's really difficult for me to market, whether it's like on Facebook, which we've pretty much like given up doing our own posts because it's so time consuming, the email marketing, text message marketing now, it's like there's so much to learn, it's crazy. And guys, we have a microgreens business, not a marketing business. Like, we don't really know what we're doing. So we got one really bad, I don't want to say review, but response or whatever you want to call it, a few years ago now, I think. And it was when we were learning things and trying to figure out, okay, how often do we text message people? How do we do, like, somebody wants an order one week versus every 3 weeks? And, they change things from one subscription to the next. And, how do we keep track of all that? And some of it was manual, some of it was automated. And we got a message from a customer that just said, you guys have screwed everything up. And to be clear, the person was talking to me because I was the one that had screwed everything up. And I do concede, it's not like I was screwing up on purpose.
And it wasn't about microgreens.
But it was just about, nothing was working out. And for whatever reason, I do totally concede, when mistakes were made, it always seemed to happen to this customer. And I tried my absolute darndest to communicate as clearly and helpfully and respectfully as possible, and it just was not perceived that way. And it was, the message that we got was pretty rough. But I mean,
but also
that's just kind of part of the game.
That's
you
the
know?
whole,
And,
you can please some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. I think that falls into that category there.
But I'm just saying, speaking to the point that you made, that we're a small business. We're not Microsoft. We're not Nike. Like, we can't operate like we have it all together, because from day to day stuff changes, and in the midst of trying to like upgrade what we're doing, or maybe do it a little better down the line, until we run it a couple of times, things are rough.
That doesn't
I mean?
even matter. You compare, you said Microsoft and you said Nike, these are big.
I don't even know if our video will be banned for saying brand names.
Whatever. I can say every brand name out there. What does it matter?
I don't know. Anyway.
They exist.
Yeah.
But a perfect example is we had a delivery the other day from FedEx. It didn't even come to our house.
Not the same
come
street.
to our house. Not even the same street.
Yeah.
I'm
you could probably throw a football to the people, but it was on a different road.
Yeah, it was
nowhere near us.
And they've delivered here before. So I would assume, I said to Gail, that they've got some kind of mapping system that when you put the address in, it should take GPS, should take you right to the house that it's already been.
Like take the go path. And
the vehicle should have already had the vehicle already should have had a path that it's been there before, or the system should have known. So that's a huge place, and they're still making mistakes. It happens. But if you don't communicate that, then how does anybody know?
Yeah.
So same thing with us. Communication. If we messed up, tell us. We want to fix it. We want to make good on it, and we have. I've unfortunately dropped microgreens on deliveries, and obviously I'm not going to pick them up, give them to anybody that the opened up and stuff. Gail's messaged the people, taking the whole bill off. Because maybe it was only half the order or whatever that made it. We mess up, and that customer is still a customer. They understand things happen. It's communication. It's getting back in touch with each other. It's having that give and take. Gail worked for in the aviation, and she had a salesperson that used to come in all the time, and he was told that they're no longer doing business with them. He still came in, and he still took them to lunch over time. That's a great relationship. He knew, and they didn't mind. He came in, but he was there for maybe a one-off. Yeah. Maybe something to happen.
Just to upkeep the relationship.
To keep the relationship going. Same thing that I'm saying is that I have no problem still stopping into a kitchen if somebody's open to, hey, it's a no. We already have somebody we're buying from, but if you'd like to stop in, you're more than welcome to. Okay, I will. Probably not every day, or every week, but maybe once a month, or we get a new product, I'll probably pop in and say hi. I'll keep that relationship, or something, whatever it is.
There was another salesman like that when I worked there, and it was clear that we couldn't buy a ton of his products. I think, out of a catalog probably that thick, there was only one product that we really bought, and we used it regularly. So, he was in the system or whatever, but it was kind of like a hard no on everything else, just because what we were able to use on the aircraft was really limited. But he still stopped by, and I remember even after leaving that position, we kept in touch. He was an older gentleman. He loved working with a specific craft that at the time I thought one of our boys would be interested in. So we kind of talked about that a little bit. And I remember just talking to this guy, we knew each other's family and, husband, wife's name, kids, things like that. And it was just a great relationship, somebody that you could learn from and gain from. And, even when I was working there, it was the same thing, just on a regular basis. Maybe every quarter he would stop in and say hello. We kind of knew nothing was happening, but he was just a nice guy. And it was never stressful to see him on the other side of the door. Like, there's some people, you see them walking in and it's like, oh no.
Because
you don't want to be those people.
Nobody told them no and don't ever come back.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Again, you don't have to deliver it that way if they're not getting it. If you've already told them no and don't come back and they still do, maybe you have to be harsh. And tell them. But the part of the discussion is having that and drawing the clear no, having that stop, or having the yes, or whatever it is, or it's the maybe, but the maybe only goes on for so long, before the maybe is a yes or a no.
Well, I think the maybe is like a bridge to let me decide.
Right.
So if you get the maybe and then you take samples or whatever, and then there's a bunch of maybes after that, then it could be
right. That's what I mean.
Whatever,
the maybe leads to a yes or no.
Yeah.
It doesn't
kind of a short progression,
until you learn what's going on and how things, how the business would work or how we would be able to work together.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. That's a short and sweet one. I don't really have much more in depth. I mean, we want it to be simple. That's as simple as it is.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. I said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't my topic, it was your topic. But.
Say yes, say no. Build the relationships personally and build out your business. Build with yourselves. Build with husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, siblings, relationships. All right. That's what it's all based on. There is love and truth. It's just how you have to deliver it. Some people can handle the truth a lot more than love and vice versa. So learn who you're dealing with, learn what you can handle, and learn what people can handle about you too. It goes both ways. So Luke and Gail from Back Mountain Microgreens. You guys
subscribe, like, comment.
Got anything else you want us to talk about, or you got something you want to say about this? Tell us a no that you had, or a yes, or a maybe, or nightmare, or a good story. Good stories are better.
There you go.
There's too many junk stories out there. So check us out. See if you'd like to order some chocolate. We'll throw some stuff your way. If you're local, pick up some microgreens at some retailers. Everything's listed on our site.
Right. BackMountainMicrogreens.com.
.com.
All right, guys. See you next time.